want to talk to you about the fish tacos at the Great Dane. For those of you out there, the Great Dane is a brew pub. For you Pacific Northwesterners, it's like our McMinimans. But not as cool. The fish tacos at the Great Dane are all wrong. They're served on a flour tortilla that looks like a corn tortilla. They've got regular taco stuff, salsa, lettuce, mayonnaise.
Well, I'm entirely against mayonnaise in general.
And it's served with a side of barbecue sauce. There is nothing right about these tacos. I order them every time I go to the Great Dane.
So you're not saying that the fish taco is bad?
It's not bad, it's just wrong.
Yeah.
I think this is why some people love bad movies. Because sometimes you can get everything wrong and it turns out right. If you watch a spectacularly bad movie, it gives you a completely unique experience. You can watch 100 good movies, you're going to enjoy them, but it's going to be very similar. But a bad movie gives you something that you've never seen before. And it's the same thing with these tacos.
Like Tolstoy said, every good fish taco is the same, but every bad fish taco is different.
Tolstoy said that?
I think so.
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good, it might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. In just 3 days, it's going to be your birthday, and I've given you the gift of being able to choose a movie for this show.
You like to say welcome to the basement? I like to say welcome to Sherwood for the adventures of Robin Hood. This one has been on my list for decades. I think every single video store in the Midwest had my fingerprints on their copy of it, and I was like, no, not today. So have you seen this?
No.
Oh, great.
I saw the scene that was in the Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Released in 1938 and directed by Michael Curtiz, Taorh, stars Errol Flynn, Basil Rathbone, Claude Rains, Alan Hale Sr., and Olivia de Havilland, who, as of this viewing, is still alive and well and living in Paris at the ripe old age of 102.
Wow.
De Havilland plays Maid Marian, and she rides a horse named Golden Cloud. His next movie was Roy Rogers' first movie, and Rogers liked him so much that he bought the horse and he renamed it Trigger. So this is the movie premiere of Trigger. How do you like that?
I like it a lot.
Smartest horse in Hollywood.
You know, with picking this movie, you've done something truly unexpected, because little did you know that the final card of the 8 cards that Tona made back in Season 2 is Swashbuckler.
Oh, Swashbuckler. So, any thoughts on this?
You have made me a merry man.
Well, yeah, cute. This is the gift I got Matt.
You've gotten me a bow and arrow.
No, not a bow and arrow. It's just an arrow. So grab a vine and swing on over to the old leather couch, where we're going to watch the 1938 classic, Adventures of Robin Hood.
Tally-ho!
It's 1191 in England town. 91. Infidels. Okay, never mind.
On his way back from the Crusades, Richard the Lionheart has been captured by the Austrians and held for ransom. His brother, Prince John, has assumed the rule of England. He and his brother are Normans. The people of England are the Saxons. His buddy is Sir Guy of Gisborne. Prince John, a Norman, decides to levy a very harsh tax on all of the Saxon folk.
He's telling them that it's for the ransom of his brother Richard, but in fact, it's to line his own coffers. And they're not just being taxed, they're being beat up, they're being hung.
Out in the forest, a miller,
his name's Much,
has killed one of the royal deer. This is punishable by death.
Not good for Much. Not much good for Much.
He is about to deal out said punishment when Robin of Locksley is a Saxon nobleman, and he is against Prince John. Sir Guy of Gisborne and his men are driven off.
Better look before you shoot next time, little man.
Shut up, little man. Shut up, little man. Back at the castle, Prince John is having a big party.
And there's a lady there. Her name's Marian. You know, if you're beating up on Saxons, that's cool by me, because Saxons ain't Normans, and Normans represent.
A certain Saxon noble.
Who is that?
Sir Robin of Locksley.
Sir Rob?
The Hoobers? The Hubba? Boom? Bonehum? The Maxme?
And then, of course, there's the roly-poly Sheriff of Nottingham. When who should crash it? Robin of Locksley. He's got that royal deer that was killed, and he gives it back to its owner.
I hope my lady had a pleasant journey from London.
I will be sexually harassing you once the cameras stop rolling. It's my thing. Please, have a seat, have some food.
Get up, Sir Ivor, and give him your place. Get up, Sir Knight.
Arise, Sir Loin of Beef. Arise, Sir Osis of the Liver. I am gonna start a rebellion against you guys.
And I'll never rest until every Saxon in this shire can stand up free men.
Curb that wagging tongue of yours.
I won't do it. A big fight erupts in the middle of the party. Robin Hood runs all around, he climbs up things, and he escapes.
What a guy.
Prince John orders that his castle and all his lands are seized, and he's forced to live out in the woods with his buddy, Will Scarlet. And they see this guy with a quarterstaff on a log.
See what he's made of.
Turns out he's made out of obsidian.
Give way, little man.
Shut up, little man.
He stands before you.
His name's John Little, but you can call him Little John. Quarterstaffs are drawn.
Yes!
Thrust, turn, parry, dodge.
Boing.
Ah, the lascivious strumming of a lute. Stab. That was fun. I like you guys. I want to hang out with you. Robin gathers all the people together. Any rich person we see, we need to take their money so we can give it to the people who need it.
A band of good determined men. Good swordsmen. Good archers.
Someone who's very good with velvet, because Will and I just wear velvet.
Prince John's reign becomes even more oppressive, and this stirs the people to genuinely engage in this rebellion.
Oh, my sternum.
He's got to be stopped.
Have you tried to stop him?
Am I not personally commanding a force that goes with
Who is he? He's been on our show before.
money he is bringing back with my sword and...
Pudding face. He's in Pride and Prejudice.
Pudding face!
The merry men come upon a plump friar.
And his name is Tuck. Robin decides to mess with him, steal his food,
Give me back my mutton joint. Oh!
stop bogarting my mutton joint. Humiliates him a little by riding on his back across the lake. But what he doesn't know is that Friar Tuck is actually a really good swordsman, and they have a little sword fight. Tuck is good, but Robin is better.
Come with me and I'll promise you the finest venison pasty and the biggest you ever ate.
If you'd have said that before, you'd have saved us both a wedding. Come along, then.
They're married?
A wetting.
There should be more boisterous laughter on our show. Or maybe not. Sir Guy and a wagon train of Normans are coming by. They're going to ambush that thing. They're going to steal everything. But Maid Marian is also on that train.
Little John, take your men and cut off the first section. Aye.
Friar Tuck, I'm going to jump on your back again because it's fun.
Ready, men?
Shh! Quiet! What the hell? We've been planning this all day, and now I'm yelling. The ambush happens. Impaled, impaled, impaled.
Welcome to Sherwood, my lady.
And Bugs Bunny.
I'm afraid he has no choice, my lady.
Well, I have, you impudent rascal.
Eleanor of Aquitaine.
Suckle.
Be still, bitch.
Bitch.
He's still bitch.
Marian has her lady-in-waiting, some old crone named Bess.
We're going to take you to our camp. We got a little party planned.
Much is making eyes at Bess.
Oh, it's a gay time back at the camp.
But if you could know these people as I know them, their infinite patience.
Their Saxony-ness. They force them to shed their fancy raiment and wear the rags of the peasants. They have a big feast. So in this egalitarian group of merry men, there are still servants.
Yes.
Little John.
What?
Let me take a little tour of the facilities. This is the hospital.
These were the people who were too gross to invite to the feast.
These guys were all beaten up by your team's men.
I think they're starting to fall for each other. I know this because I watched the movie, but yeah.
Guy and the sheriff are released with a message for Prince John.
And you two nincompoops sat there and let him do it.
We're not nincompoops, we're just normal poops.
How are we going to get this guy?
We'll hold an archery tournament.
He's going to show up because a golden arrow will be on the line. The woman presenting the arrow is none other than our own Maid Marian. It's pretty good. Sheriff of Nottingham.
Not bad.
Thank you.
He'll be in disguise, but we know that the winner is going to be Robin Hood because Robin Hood is the best archer in the land. The archery contest happens, and Robin and his men do come in disguise.
Robin is dressed as a tinker.
Shoot that poison arrow at the target.
How is the time, Your Highness?
Not so hasty, Sir Guy. I'm enjoying myself. Let them finish the match.
He really should be doing this.
Thwack, thwack.
Archery, archery, archery. It comes down to 2 guys. The first guy hits right in the center of the target. Robin is going to lose. No, that's not what happens. Robin's arrow splits that arrow. So he's like more center. More bullseye-est.
The tinker is brought up to get the golden arrow.
When I was growing up, tinker was a slang term for penis. Anybody else? No? He is seized.
You're a very rash young man.
Please don't mention the rash. I thought penicillin had cleared that up. I sentence you to be imprisoned until such time as you figure out how to escape and then escape. I wonder what 2018 will be like. Surely I won't live that long. Marion finds out where all the rebels hang out from her goony assistant.
Who does she remind me of?
Some sort of giant bird. They spend that night hatching a plan. At the gallows in the morning.
No way Robin can escape.
This is a rare treat, isn't it, milady?
Yes, isn't it?
My dress looks like a couch. And before he can be hanged, he is rescued.
He's the last person to go through the portcullis. Does it this way. That night, Marion and Bess are speaking of love. What's love like? Do you want to braid your hair all the time and talk to an old woman about love? Turns out that's exactly what it feels like.
Do you feel a kind of pricky feeling like goosey pimples running all up and down your spine?
It could also be spinal meningitis.
It's Robin Hood. I heard you talking about me. You're in love with me, and guess what? I'm in love with you.
You must go at once, and I don't love you.
In that order.
There's an archer.
Maybe he loves me. He says, all right, well, maybe I'll just jump out the window and kill myself. She finally admits that she's in love with him. I hear kissing. At the Tavern of the Bent Road, there's another group of men who are in disguise.
The inn at Luton was well supplied.
That's a Norman inn.
They have to shout Norm whenever anyone walks in. This guy, the bishop, comes in. He was just robbed by Robin Hood, so he's in a bad mood. One of those guys is King Richard. He got out of Austria, and he's back in England. But he knows that Prince John has aims for the throne, and so he can't reveal himself or he'll be killed.
The bishop overhears.
Robin Hood again, sire.
Oh! You only call one person, sire, and that's the king. King Richard is returned.
Well, there's so much danger on the road.
There's a killer on the road. His brain is squirming like a toad. I gotta go.
Thank you. Good night.
Love you.
I'm afraid you suspect, sire.
Because you keep calling me sire, dumbass.
If my brother happened to be killed,
England would have a new king.
This ex-knight, Dickon, who was dicked over by Richard and is mad at him, will have him go kill him. And then you, the bishop, you can crown me king tomorrow, and everything will be fine. Foolproof plan.
Marion overhears this.
You seem upset.
Upset? Why should I be?
Blah!
Escort my Lady Marion to the Great Hall.
And while you do it, chant, "O we o, o." Caw! Caw!
He was the one man in England who protected the helpless against a lot of beasts who were drunk on human blood.
Have you tried the human blood? It's wonderful.
you will order your execution for high treason exactly 48 hours from now.
High Treason is my favorite Cheech and Chong movie. Help me get this wastebasket off my head. It's been stuck there for days.
Dickon is riding through the forest. Much sees him, jumps on him from above.
Just like a Norman, he brings a knife to a knife fight. King Richard is accosted by Robin Hood and the Merry Men.
Any friend of Richard's is free of this forest. Would you honor us by sharing meat with us?
Well, I had meat for lunch, and meat for breakfast, and then I had meat yesterday for dinner, and then every meal of every day of my life.
A poacher of the king's deer and an outlaw.
Why is poaching game and poaching an egg? Why is that the same word?
I don't know, Matt. It's a curious world we live in.
Take me to Robbie, quick.
I must profess my love before I die, like Eponine in Les Miserables. Much kills Dickon.
He ain't gonna murder no one no more.
Ain't gonna murder no more, no more. Ain't gonna murder no more.
Little John.
What? Hey buddy, guess what? I'm King Richard. The clothes prove it. And they know that Sir John is going to be crowned king tomorrow.
By taking Nottingham Castle, without an army it'd be much too strong. Your men would be killed uselessly.
I want them to be killed usefully. That's why I'm calling another crusade.
They sneak into the ceremony. Robin's got a knife to the bishop's back. Once again, King Richard reveals himself.
Here are a few Knights Templar, and here's the Merry Man, and that's Robin Hood. Fight, everyone! And so there's a big old brawl.
Looks like he rolled an 8, maybe a 7, but that was definitely a miss.
This is it, Robin. You're going down now. This is an iconic sword fight you're seeing right now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. They're throwing shade. Guy is dead.
You've been Locksleyed. And now you'll be Locksleyed, but in a different way. You and all of your friends need to leave England and never come back. You're exiled. Robin of Locksley, I'm going to give him back his lands and then some. You know what I would really like the most? I want to be Marion.
My first command to you, my Lord Earl,
Is to knock boots.
what say you to that, Baron of Locksley?
Suck it! Robin and Marion go off to kiss or whatever.
And they end up getting married. Or, that's to be presumed. They end up leaving a room together.
Oh, Aerosmith. The Adventures of Robin Hood. He is the Prince of Thieves, and they are men in tights.
Yes.
And this movie is pretty special.
So why do you say this movie is special?
I don't think there's any part of it that isn't enjoyable. There's no fat. There's no boring scenes. There's no pointless scenes. There's no talky scenes. The scenes that are talky are interesting.
Well, it's interesting because you have Claude Rains and Basil Rathbone going back and forth with each other, and they're just interesting to watch.
What is it about Claude Rains that makes it such a pleasure to watch him do anything?
It is that voice that's just so singular.
What's the name of the actor in Mad Men? The English actor?
Jared Harris.
Same voice. Yeah. It's the eyes, too.
Yeah.
His eyes are very interesting, and they're always very engaged with what he's saying, and it's just, the whole package just works.
And Rathbone is just one of the most striking men ever in movies. Most people who remember Rathbone remember him as Sherlock Holmes, but before that, he was the best sword fighter in Hollywood. If you have Errol Flynn, you have to have Basil Rathbone to go toe-to-toe with him. And then, of course, there's Mr. Collins from Pride and Prejudice, showing up again.
Pudding face.
Pudding face. Showing up as a sheriff of Nottingham and being pretty choice in that role. You always imagine Nottingham as the villain of the piece, but him just being this coward, but at the same time cunning, it's not what I expected.
I think this might be my first Errol Flynn movie, and watching him work is extraordinary. Man, that guy can move.
Yeah.
It's like watching a tiger.
Yeah, you don't see people like him anymore.
I'll tell you one thing I don't like about Errol Flynn.
His personality, he was a horrible person.
I don't like his face.
You don't? I
I don't think he's handsome at all. I think he looks like a rat. His eyes have a little bit crazy eyes. They're too intense.
It might have been alcohol, cocaine, or heroin.
Okay.
He had problems with all of those things. And underage women. He... Not a heroic man. He would not do well in our Me Too era.
So you have said in the past that you don't like Technicolor movies from a certain era. How did you feel about the color in this one?
It was very bright. You look at Will Scarlet. Wah! You know. The thing I don't like about Technicolor is that it makes me feel sad. It's because it doesn't quite look like reality, or it's the same feeling I get when I think about driving across the Great Plains.
Well, I think in this movie in particular, it really enhances the storybook aspects of it.
It looks good in this movie.
The storybook
yes.
feel of it, yeah. I thought Olivia de Havilland was a little bland. She's got a pretty face, sure, but I didn't see much else that would drive a hero to fall in love with her.
I wouldn't fault de Havilland that. You know, she's trying to do a lot with what she's allowed to work with.
Sure. I'm not saying she did a bad job.
Yeah.
It's also the way the character's written.
I believe originally they were going to just cut the character of Marion from the movie.
Huh.
You know, this is an adventure movie, let's just cut the romance. Which, generally, I say, do that thing. But it would have been wrong, I think, to cut her from this.
Yeah.
Even though she wasn't the most intriguing character. Something definitely would have been missing with it.
And Maid Marian is a very important part of the Robin Hood legend.
Yes. But then there's the question, like, you haven't read any of the Robin Hood legends, right?
Yeah. No.
Where do we know Robin Hood from?
This movie.
Yeah, all the movies, which all go back to this movie, and maybe if Maid Marian wasn't here, she would have fallen away from Kevin Costner and Mel Brooks and Disney.
Redistribution of... I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. And it's a question of, is this a movie that's against taxes, or is it a movie for socialism?
I don't think it's either of those things.
Yeah.
I think it's about resisting tyranny and oppressed people to stand up against their oppressors. We're a merry band of 3 people here in the basement.
And that's all this merry band started out with before.
But I can't forget that the rest of our merry band are out there.
That's right.
The Adventures of Robin Hood. We have finally watched it after all these years of life. And now it is time to rob from the rich and give to Seen It.
Seen It!
Craig Jacobson, who is a mutual friend of ours. Hey, Craig.
Okay. Other Craig.
What do either or both of you consider as the best movie ever made about the polka? I assume that Craig is talking about the Netflix original movie, The Polka King.
Yes.
Seen It.
Seen It.
Jack Black playing a foreign man who builds a polka empire.
Yes.
And I find it very similar to the Richard Linklater film Bernie.
Always a good idea to have Jack Black singing in a movie. Every time he does it, the movie just explodes. Happens in Bernie, happens in School of Rock.
Well, he's such a talented actor and a talented singer and musician. So yeah, you're right. It's like a double threat.
Although I'm not happy with his wig in this movie. It's obnoxious. He has the same wig as Prince John does. This page boy thing. That's the only thing in the movie where it really seems like they're making fun of the guy. Jared Brown writes, Modern Romance. The Quaalude scene might be the funniest thing ever put on film. Seen It.
Seen It. That Quaalude scene is really funny.
Watching Albert Brooks slowly become the slowest man in the world and making phone calls the entire time. Yeah. The movie has a line that I quote every single time I hear a word. Good old E. When he's going through his vitamins, it's like, vitamin E. Good old E. And he tilts it up and just one big blob of pills comes out because they have the gel caps.
They stick together. Yeah. The diner scene is at Los Angeles' legendary Musso and Frank restaurant, which I've been to.
Is that the scene where he says he compares their romance to Vietnam?
Probably. Mr. Sandpaper... you know what? I'm just going to call you Mr. Sandpaper. Writes, Craig, please tell us why you don't care for The Lion King. I imagine it has something to do with Hamlet, but the not knowing is killing me. Seen It.
It's not Hamlet that makes me not like The Lion King, which incidentally, seen it. What I don't like about it is every time an animal talks or sings in the movie. Other than that, the movie's great.
I hate Hakuna Matata. That whole thing. Both of those characters, even though one of them is voiced by the great Nathan Lane.
And the other by the great Ernie, what's his name?
I can't stand that song. I can't stand those characters. I can't stand any of the music. I can't believe that it's revived as a musical. Because this music is so uninteresting to me.
The movie opens with that sunrise shot. And seeing that on the big screen, with the animals running across the savannah, like, this might be the best Disney thing ever. And then it's just yammering. I just don't care. Jesse Balcom writes... Right at the end of the year, I watched The Best Years of Our Lives and thought it was an incredible way to get a small picture of the experiences World War II veterans had returning from the war.
Yeah, seen it. Basement alum Frederick March is in this,
Zone.
Playing another really convincing drunk. I always like seeing Myrna Loy and the actor who played the man with no hands.
Harold Russell.
Yeah, he won an Oscar for that?
He won 2 Oscars for that.
How does that work?
He won Best Supporting Actor, and then they gave him a special award for his existence, basically. Thanks for your service. Here's a second Oscar.
Boy, that scene where he takes off his prosthetics and you see his... That's a really powerful scene.
And where he's showing it to his fiancée?
Yeah.
And there's implications in that scene that they just cannot say in film. There's nothing I can do with my hands. I need you to do things that,
Right.
It's basically, you're going to be wiping my ass for me for the rest of my life. It's a heartbreaking scene, but in the end, just so powerful.
If he could put on and take off those claws by himself, he could probably wipe his ass.
I guess we'll never know, Matt.
We don't mean to laugh at an injured veteran.
We're laughing at us talking about wiping asses.
Yes. You will be a merry man or woman or child if you gallop over to our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. All of our episodes are there, every single one of them.
This one?
Including this one. And there are PayPal donation buttons. You can make a one-time or rolling monthly donation to support this show.
Have you robbed from the rich? Well, give to us.
Some of our donors are Ralph, who gave a very generous donation and says, thanks, Matt, Craig, Tona, and the kiddies. Long live Sci-Fi July.
Thank you.
And Katrine, who says, my husband loves your show. If you could send a thumb kiss to Rudy Herman, it would be amazing. Love from Denmark.
Hey. There you go, Rudy. It's a message for you.
To find out who the rest of our donors are and to see the exciting contents of our mail crate, you can watch Unboxing, which comes out this coming Friday. It's another show just like this one.
But we don't watch a movie except for the parts where we do, sometimes.
Confused? You better watch the show. The Adventures of Robin Hood, a classic.
Watch it with the kids. Watch it with your grandma. They'll all like it.
And, of course, watch this. Rolling, rolling. Tona is now rolling. The cameras are rolling. Basement.
Yeah, move them up.
Welcome to Sherwood.